All right, so guys, welcome to design. This course is primarily to help you gain necessary basic insights into how to start design or what to do when you have to design. Um, so basically, while we were trying to create this course, we thought about who should attend or who do we want to do this for, and our focus for this class or for this particular course module is to train to have the conversation with business owners, DIYs, that's do-it-yourself guys, content creators, non-designers, that's non-design professionals, and design enthusiasts, because we understand that design is needed in every industry and everyone might need a basic knowledge of design. All right, so straight to today's agenda. Now, before we go to today's agenda, there's something we'll do quickly. I'll paste something on the chat box, and so it's more like a code of conduct kind of a thing, but we don't call it code of conduct. It's just more like you would like to say this. Say it to yourself. You don't need to turn off the microphone to say it. You just need to say it wherever you are. So it goes, are we ready? I'm going to say it here, so I hope you are saying it there. So it's just to kind of like have some sort of engagement. So in this class, I choose to pay attention. I put aside all distractions. I refuse to be tempted by my social media notifications. Nothing stands in the way of my understanding of this class. I get the full value of my time, and I use my knowledge to create value in the space I belong. So I hope everyone has said that to themselves. So this is more like a code of conduct or something to say before we kick off. All right, so let's go straight to it. I apologize for switching my screen to attend to people that are just joining. All right, so what's today's agenda? So basically, we would have intros and basic yarns and all of that. Then we'll talk about the element of design. Then we go to principle of design and design principles. Then we'll look at some designs together, or we'll design here and you'll see how simple it can be to design, basically. And I'll be sharing with you some resources that you will be needing in the course of you having to do your designs yourself. Okay, so why are we taking this course? We are doing that because we understand that more than 90% of buying decisions are made on visual cues. So how do I know that? I understand that majority of people, the first thing a buyer or a consumer will have, the first form of the first form of attention, or the first form of connection they will have with you is firstly on whatever interface they get to see. Either your business card, either your website, either your social media, before they will make any decision to know if whether your service is good or not, or if they will have a good experience with you or not. The first thing they will see are your visuals. So that's why we feel like it's important for everybody in every sector to understand design. And that's why we started design for non-designers. All right, so for today's class, I'm the host, and I'm also your class tutor. My name is Kaede Michael Mofura. I've been designing for over 7 years now. I have worked on several brands. I've had the opportunity to work on several brands like Nigerian Breweries, Durex, PZ Cousins, worked on Nestle. I've been able to use my knowledge and my skill set to help brand communicate value through design and communicate value through the force of design. And I'm still doing that currently. I run design for non-designers. I'm the community director, and I'm also a brand and product designer. So this is me, and welcome to the class. All right, so let's get to it quickly. All right, so for every so I'm going to do a lot of talking before we start doing the actual work, because I feel like for every design, or for everything that has to do with design, we need to understand the fundamentals, and without having a grasp of the fundamentals, you would not be able to execute. Like I used to say to people, it's more like saying that you are going to solve a problem and you do not know what tools to go along to solve the problem. And before you even know how to use, you have to also know how to use those tools, right? And you have to know what are like the steps or the strategies to work out those tools, basically. I'll be going on to talk about the fundamentals right about now. I'm trying to admit someone in. All right, so basically these are the elements of design. So truthfully, there are several elements of designs. We have form, we have shape, we have color, we have text, we have imagery, and so many others. But I want to bring your focus to these four, and the reason why I'm doing that is because this is we have texture also. This is like the basic. This is I'm talking to people that have little or no knowledge of design. Like, I read through the registration, and some people said they want to have experiential knowledge in design. I'm like, wait. we are taking it as a progressive step. This is step one, right, for anything we are doing design. So starting off, we'll talk about these four, and I think they are important. Now you will see on the side of on my screen right now, there are two designs. There's one that shows a footballer and there's one that shows a musician, and these two designs have these four elements I listed on the left. They have text, they have colors, they have image, and they have shapes, right? These are the things they have in common, but the way they are being used is where you will say, oh, this is creative. Now, it is understanding how to use these guys that would help you achieve what is on the right. If you know how many, we have like several kind of shapes. We have rectangular shapes, we have circular shapes, we have different type of shapes. We have different type of colors. When we talk about colors, many of us are a lot more sentimental. We say stuff like, oh, I like yellow because we have some emotional attachment to colors, right? So I know I've had cases where I had to have a disagreement with clients because a personal interest, let's say she likes, for example, this is an example, she likes yellow, and I'm saying for your brand the color that works is green because this is what you're trying to push. Let's use green for you. The psychology of color says to us that green is the color that works for you, and my client says, no, I want this, and I actually let her understand how that the color you like doesn't necessarily have to go with the color that will be used for the project. Why? Because the project, you are not the one, you are not the user, you're not the one interfacing with the project, you're not the one having an engagement. Your users need to, we have understood your users and we've gone through research to know that this is the color that works for your user. Same as text, some people like curvy, fancy text, while some other people like serious text. But depending on what you are doing, depending on the project, is what will determine the kind of text we use. And imagery, imagery stand out a lot in design. A good image will make your design amazing. So very quickly, there are several shapes, there are several colors, there are several texts, but I'm going to point out, of all these four, I'm going to talk about colors and text because they are super important. Now, let's get to colors. This is one of the most difficult parts of design, or one of the, we can talk about color. We can have a conversation that will last for 10 hours where I'm discussing color, or where we have people to talk about color. Why? Because color is really, really wide. I do not know how many colors exist because I know that there are different shades of red, different shades of purple, different shades of blue, and every other color. So, but we run you through the basics, right? So now there's something I wrote here, RGB versus CMYK. Now, if you look at your mobile phone, now you're looking at my screen. This is a digital device, right? So definitely what you are seeing right now is a color formed in RGB. Now, RGB colors are digital colors where we have the three basic colors that we are all aware of. I don't know if you are. Secondary school in finance, they taught us green, yellow, and blue colors, right? So RGB colors are basic colors that we see on digital displays, on your phone, on your laptop, on whatever digital, on your projector in your church, religious activities, or in a conference, right? On big screens. Those are the colors. Those are what there are three colors that form what is displaying to you, and that is red, green, and blue. Now for print, it's a lot different because you are seeing four colors, right? We have the cyan, that looks like blue, the magenta that has a shade of pink, yellow, and black. Now, I mean, there's always people ask, why do I need to know this? Now, the reason why you need to know this is because on some design softwares, if you are working on a project, let's say for print, it's advisable not. It is not that it's advisable. You shouldn't use RGB color format. Why? Because what you are seeing on your screen, when it gets to your print, what they will print out will be totally different. What might come out might be lighter, or it might be of lighter shade, or might be of darker shade. Why? Because you designed your work in RGB and sent to someone that would have to print in CMYK. So it might cause like a confusion. So why is this color not coming out the way it should come out? Why is this? Why is this that? So to avoid that, is why we need to understand that there are two different color. There are two different color formats, and RGB is for digital. Just know that RGB is for digital: green, blue, yellow. Then green, blue, red, green, and blue is for digital, and CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black is for print. Now, interesting part is that, like I said earlier, there is a psychology of color. Now, I've read articles and conversations. I've listened to conversations where people say that red, there's a way red can get you to be hungry, or yellow, and they say because of the energy that comes from those colors, because they are bright, they are shiny, right? And truthfully, if you cast your mind now back to all the most of the food companies you've seen or you've related with, either using their mobile app or going to their store physically, you will notice that many of them work with yellow and red, and that's because they understand this psychology. Now, you would hardly see, except it's an healthy food, hardly see a food business use green. Like I said, except it's an healthy food and are promoting freshness or nature, you hardly see them go for green. They will obviously want to stick with yellow, red, or sometimes orange, right? There's the like of KFC, the like of The Place, there's the like of Domino's, there's the like of Chicken Republic. You can name as many brands that we can talk about, and we'll see that they actually, because of the understanding they have about color psychology, they understand that these are the colors that work for them. Now, talking about other colors, there's purple that people affiliate with royalty, power, wealth, ambition, being noble. There is blue that is also the color for design for non-designer, that talks about trust. We're trying to build a community, so we are saying that, you should trust us. That's why we are sticking with blue, right? So we are saying we have some sort of stability. There's depth of content in what we are giving you, is why we are focusing on blue. Now, we merged it a little bit of yellow because we are trying to also be cheerful. We want you to see us and be happy. We are joyous, we are energetic because we are young. So there is that. So we can see that it takes more than just putting colors on a brand. It is actually work of understanding what the brand is looking to achieve and giving the brand a sense of value or recognition or of achievement in what they're trying to do, right? I have a friend that his brand is green, and I think what he's promoting is growth, freshness, and he's a money person. So it's just basically about what do you want to achieve with your project or with your brand. Then it will determine the kind of color we'll work with. Now, moving on straightly, talking about how to use color, like choosing the color combination. This is one of the most tedious things to do, right? When I started off as a designer, I didn't even have access to some of the things I will share with you today. It was difficult to use colors. Like, my colors are always boring. Like, if I want to use a particular red, I don't want it to be this kind of red, but that's the red I'm seeing. That's the red I can actually have access to. I'm like, how do I make it better? But the good news is that there are sites that can easily get it done for you. Like, you can get several color combinations that will work for your project. I will show you how they work currently, but the major sites I use are color.adobe.com, and I also use colors.co, right? So those are the two sites I use, right? And I'm going to explain to you right now. I'm going to show you on my screen how they work. So I hope I'm not too fast. If I'm too fast, if you're not getting, please let me know before we go on here. Are you getting it so far? I want to see some answers. Are you getting it so far? You can just type in the what's it called? Yeah, okay. Tumishi says yes, carry on. Tulokwe says yes. All right. Any other person? Are you getting it thus far? All right. So I'm going to show you how colors work very quickly. Okay, so this is colors.co, right? This is an amazing tool, right, guys? I mean, right now I'm guessing you are writing down these websites and you are ready to explore and do beautiful stuff. This is an amazing tool, trust me. Now, so how do I use this? You can sign in, you can sign up, you can just join, so they can send you emails if you want, but if you don't want, you can use it without signing in, right? So how do I work with this? Sometimes I come to explore trending palettes, right? I want to see what others have been using, right? I mean, I want to see what the best guys are actually working with. So I come here and I choose from variety of colors depending on the project I'm working on. Now remember, I already understand, we are coming from a place understanding the psychology of color, right? I understand. I mean, if you don't even get all the explanation on my psychology of color, you can just Google and just type psychology of color when you want to work on a project, so you know what color to work with. Now I come here, for example, and I see that, oh, people have used this color, and the amazing thing about this is there are some numbers you will see as I slide through a color, right? Those numbers are what we call color codes. Now in your software, these codes are what you impute into your software that gives you this color. I will do a testing for you. Now this is FFB 703. I'm going to open my Canva now and just show you something, and I'll just show you how you can just get that done on your Canva. Okay, so this is my Canva, right? I click on this, I come to color, background color, I add color, and I type sorry, I need to admit that person. All right, and I come to my, sorry, I'm going back to Canva now, and I come here and I type FFB 708, right? Now this is the exact color we saw here, if I'm correct, right? This is the 703. Okay, 703, so it is FFB 703. Now this is just how easy it is for you to just come here, see colors combination, and made. Now there are like how many colors here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. Now these 5 can work together. You can actually systematically use them together, but bear in mind that it is always good to use 2 contrasting colors. Like, I mean, you want to create an imagination, you want to create an experience. Now you want to try to use colors that are contrasting, not colors that are just of similar. Like, imagine you just want to use colors, like for example, you come here and use this and this, like they are 2 similar colors, right? The contrast is not so good, so you don't want to do that. So this is how to explore your colors.co. I don't want to take too much time on this. You can go back and do that. The other thing you can also do is when you go back, you can probably just choose your own color palette. And the fantastic thing about this is that you can choose your color palette with from an image. Let's take, for example, let's start a generator. For example, you want to generate, you're working on a project and you want to use images to design whatever you want to design. You can generate color palettes from images. I hope I can quickly show you that with my internet still loading. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I want to show you how that's the possibility of generating color palettes from images. Okay, so now this is what's it called, this is how to choose your color palette. So for example, you can come and view different shades of colors. Can you see? So I mean, this is an amazing tool that was created by some guys, God knows where they are. Now you can see it, this place, there's create palette from photo. So when you click here, you upload the photo and automatically it will generate the color palettes for you. It's actually that fantastic. So today I also discovered that you can actually, sorry, let me just look for it. My slide. Okay. So also the other site you can check up is color.adobe.com. You might not need to write all of this down. If you don't, I will still share the material with you at the end of the class. Color.adobe.com is also a very good software you can use, but one after the time. You can just explore colors.co and see how amazing colors you can work with. I mean, it's actually very fantastic. So you don't need to cram. What you just need to understand are basic principles, basic color psychology, like I was explaining here. Once you understand the psychology of colors, you know the colors that work for you and the colors that don't work for the project you're working on, then you can decide. You can go to any of these sites and just choose as many color palettes as you would want. All right, so that is about colors. Moving very quickly to typography. Now, this is another interesting part of design, trust me, because you can spend a number of years just being a typography designer or trying to learn typography, and this class is not even to intimidate you. This class is to help you with the simplest tools or skill necessary to get you the job done as a non-designer or as a non-design professional, right? So there are different type of typography style, right? There is the serif. Now you can see the way I wrote it. This is how serifs look like. I mean, if you remember Times New Romans, for many of us that have done projects in university, you know that they always say, oh, use Times New Romans for your project presentation or your document, what have you. That is a serif typeface, right? We call it typeface, and I will explain as we go on, right? The reason why this knowledge is good is because you just need to understand what you are doing so you don't get stuck, and when you get stuck, you know what to do, right? So there's sans serif typeface. For example, you've seen this particular typeface you are seeing on my screen is a sans serif typeface. It's called a vertical new. A vertical new is designed for non-designers brand typeface. That's what we use for all our brand assets, right? And it's because this is how we want to be represented, right? So there's also script typeface. I mean, you guys that like all the old cozy designs, you want it to be cozy, their script typeface. I'm going to also share resources on how to get all these fonts for all these typefaces for free for you. Now, so there's a slight difference between typefaces and fonts. Now I will explain. The way I've done it here, imagine a family, right? In my family, I have my father, I have my mother, I have myself and my younger sister. So we are 4. So that 4, our surname is Onofurora. Onofurora is our typeface, right? But I am Kayode Onofurora. My sister is Ayomide Onofurora. So let's say, for example, I, Kayode, am regular. My sister is bold. Now, our typeface is our surname. This is how to get it. Our font, the font is our individual names. That's how simple. It's as simple as that. So, for example, what you call font is just a typeface, because you say, oh, let me use Montserrat. I know most people are familiar with Montserrat, right? Montserrat is a typeface, but you have Montserrat regular, Montserrat gold, you have Montserrat italics, you have Montserrat black, you have Montserrat what have you, right? So Montserrat is a typeface, but it has different families, and those are fonts. So individually they are called fonts, but together they are called what? A typeface. I hope that is clear enough. I'm actually going to switch this because you can actually read this, and this is quite explanatory. So I want to go to the things that you might need further explanation on. So let's move. Now, how do you combine fonts? How do you make your... So the good thing about design is this. A good design is not magic. A good design is not, oh, this guy is wow, you know. A good design is someone understands the principle, understand how to use the elements, and can infuse both together to create something wonderful. Now, in combining, because I usually pay attention to a lot of non-designers design, right? I follow a lot of people that are social media managers. I see the way they use colors, or my friends will buzz me and say, oh, okay, I'm doing a presentation for my team tomorrow. Can you help me look at this design? And I make some adjustments. And when I look at those adjustments, what I see there is basically little things that could be easily corrected. For example, combining your font. Now, I used to tell people, choose two complementary fonts. Now, because of what you are trying to do, sometimes you might need to complement the fonts in a way that will make them look good, depending on the kind of project you are working on. Sometimes I advise also combine the serifs with the sans serifs. What I mean is this: you combine this guy that has all the old curves on the head. That's the likes of Times New Roman, the likes of Playfair, the likes of Bodoni. I don't know if you know them, but I will show you where you can get them. With the likes of Helvetica or the likes of Montserrat, it gives it a very good contrast, right? Which takes me to the third point, which is contrast is king. I mean, you want it to be contrasting enough. Now, this is not about talking about adding effect to your font. No, don't start from there. Start with getting to use the right font and how to pair them well, or how to combine them to infuse them to work together, right? Because at the end of the day, there has to be some sort of synergy in your design, right? You don't want your design should just be everywhere. You don't want it to be because I see many people start out and they use like 1 million they use like, I'm exaggerating, they use like 5 fonts or 5 typefaces, and I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself? I always tell people, avoid pairing fonts that are too similar and limit your number of fonts to 2. Why do I say that? I mean, over time, when you've mastered the act of doing this thing, you can now explore to maybe 3 or 4. But advisably, for a project, try to limit it to 2. Like all through this presentation, I only used Helvetica New. I didn't use any other thing except from the particular thing I was trying to explain, like trying to explain serif, script, and all of that. Every other thing you see here is Helvetica New, and it's well presented, right? So it is basically understanding how to arrange, understanding that there's hierarchy in my font. The heading has to be more, what's the word? The font size has to be bigger than the body, things like that. Just gives you some kind of simple and also expressive, be expressive enough. For example, I put design for non-designer to the right and I just inverted it. I mean, just be expressive. Design is not what's it called, it's not mathematics. Like, there's no formula to it, but there are principles, right? Understanding those principles, once they are there in your mind and you know them, application is not supposed to be difficult. Now we are going to talk about the principles. Now, these are principles I think are important that you need to know, right, in order to get your design from crap to what's it called, to being awesome. Now, I'm going to say this because I'm talking to non-designers. Even if I'm talking to designers, I would say this, that Canva is a very, very amazing tool. Like, I feel like designers sometimes should try to use Canva. Like, I tried to use Canva recently. The first time I was going to practice for this class, and I used Canva because I don't use Canva regularly because of the work I do. I have to use other softwares, and also because I've mastered it. So over the years, I'm just going to keep on using it. But I tried Canva and I realized that you can actually use Canva to design your website, right? You might not just be able to bring it out of the Canva page by paying, but you'll be able to design your website. And I will show you some things and we'll design some things together. But before we get there, let's just talk about some principles that I think are important. Now, the first thing is that contrast draws attention. Now, I mean, contrast is key. Like, contrast is, even when you are dressing, they say add a bit of contrast to your clothes, try to let a part of it pop, things like that. For example, looking at these graphics in front of you, the before one just shows, I'm trying to show you that this guy raising his hand is the guy I want you to see first, right? But on the one on my left, you can't really see him. But how do I now draw the contrast? I add a color that is brighter than the other colors. That, in a way, just gave me some form of contrast, right? That is how contrast can work. Contrast also works in what's it called, in text. For example, in my text here that says contrast draws attention, I used a bold and italic font for contrast, and I used a light font for draws attention. Why? Because I don't want to see the contrast. I want the contrast to draw your attention. Now, these are like little ways to actually make your design go from 0 to a 10, because you are, from your understanding of, okay, contrast draws colors, draws attention, I I can also add contrast by either using color or by using a font, right? So you knowing that already just helps you make your design amazing or look different from what you have been doing before, right? So do not forget that contrast draws attention rather, and you should at any point try to express yourself and add some contrast to your design whatever way you can. Also, Whitespace emphasizes. Now, I like this logo from FedEx a lot, and because it's not just simple, it is straight to the point. FedEx is trying to show you that there's a movement, is a business that moves around a lot. So there is an arrow in their logo that is hidden somewhere. So what is Whitespace? Whitespace is basically what we call, it can also be called negative space, right? It is like using something that is not there to form something that is there, right? Like merging two things together to form something else. For example, if you look at FedEx, from between the E and the X, I think I've done this before in a class, but I'm doing it again here for those that don't know. Between the E and the X, you can see a white arrow. I don't know if you can see that, right? So this is an amazing way to actually push out white space. Now, this is a good way to emphasize what your brand is about. Now, not every time you'll be able to do this, but when you can, I think it is amazing to actually add it to your design, because it actually gives your design some sort of life. It emphasizes what you're trying to push out to your audience that way, and you can get to do the right thing by doing that. And I think this logo is an amazing logo. It's actually a very expensive logo, but don't let us get to that. So let's move on to the next thing. Hierarchy, organize your design. Now, I'm sure you understand what hierarchy is. I mean English, but for those that do not know what hierarchy is basically, there is a commander general, there is a whatever. They are like, in a university you have the VC, if I'm correct, or let's say in a country you have the president, you have the vice president, you have the governors, you have all of that like that. There is hierarchy, right? So for example, for these two designs, I mean, if you look at it, for an average designer, you can say, the one on the left is not bad. I mean, the formation are there, but I will look at it and say there's a lot of room, right? And also, Jane Smith is something I want to call out, because Jane Smith is the person I'm showing here. So why don't I make Jane Smith come out bolder? Why don't I use it to emphasize and also organize my design instead of leaving all of this blank? Then the after shows Jane Smith written in a very appropriate way and making it organized, making your design look organized and well professional. So that way you know that, okay, the design is organized. You can read Jane Smith bold enough, then you can look at the other information that you want to pass across written in the same font sizes, right? I mean, that way you understand that, okay, this is what this person is trying to achieve to me. It's just like you going to, I mean, even if you're in a particular house and you're trying to arrange things, there's a way you arrange things. You put the smaller things below, or there's a way you make it look like organized with your arrangement. So in design too, design is not art. Art is where you can pour everything anywhere. Art is where you can do everything. Design has to be organized, it has to be arranged, there has to be structure. So hierarchy gives you that structure. It helps you with structuring your design and making it look good, and it makes you look properly relatable. Because sometimes when you read some magazines, you see some things, be like, okay, why are these people arranging things like this? I don't know what is most important, because they do not use what hierarchy. All right, so moving on very quickly, proximity. Now, proximity is also a very good design principle that you need to understand. And what I say here is proximity suggests relationships. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the before and after, it looks like the guy on the left is just on his own, and these two beautiful ladies are just on their own, right? So, but looking at what is on the right, it shows that this is a team of 5 people. Probably this guy in the middle is the boss, and these 2 ladies by his side are probably like the next in command or in rank, and the 2 people at the back are like the junior staffs, right? So, but then by looking at this, you can say there's hierarchy in this, right? We can also say that there is proximity in this. Why? Because of how it shows us that these people are a team. But when you look at this on the left, we cannot see any form of proximity that suggests relationship to us. So in designing stuff, if you want people to see how does this work in design, basically, if you want people to see something and you want them to, from that seeing that thing, you want them to understand that the next thing you are saying is to explain what they've seen on the left. You find a way to bring them close together. I mean, not too close to the point that your design is all choked up. Now, one thing I've noticed about non-designers or people that just started design is that they want to put everything everywhere. Nah, that is not the way it is done. I mean, in as much as you want everybody to see everything you've done, how beautiful your work is, you want to just splash it on our faces, right? It's not necessary, right? As much as possible, let the things breathe. Give them the space to live, right? Let them be able to do things by themselves. I don't want to feel like I'm choked up, as an element. Let me just use myself as an element. For example, if I'm a ball in your design and you are putting me so close in a way that I do not have space, right, to breathe, depending on what you are designing, basically, I think it's advisable to focus and understand all of this principle. Proximity is really key in design, and as well as you can use it, also limits the use so that it doesn't get abused, right? You don't use it and now start making your design feel a bit choked and unnecessary. All right, so another one that gives me a headache if I don't see it in the design is alignment. Now, alignment directs the eyes. Now, as simple as alignment can be, it can also be very tedious because you are thinking, okay, should I align this design to the left? Should I align it to the right? This is one thing I used to say to people. I say people read from left to right. I mean, people want to see things coming from their left to their right. They want to be able to look at a content and be able to get the knowledge at a go, right? So if anything you are trying to do, if it's the content kind of design, let's say a website, for example, you want to make sure that it is coming, people are looking at it and their eyes there is a direction. Because you, as a designer, some sort, you are giving people some flow of direction. Now, if you look at this design, one thing you first see is you will see the picture because it's big, and you also see alignment direct your eyes. Those are the things I want you to see before you now start looking and say, oh, brought to you by DFND or Design for Non-Designers on the side and 2021. Right. So it's because of the direction and the way it is being aligned. I mean, this whole thing here are aligned to the left for a reason, because I know you would read it like this, you will still come back to your left. So it's important you understand these things, right? Because there's a way the mind works. I mean, at some point I'm always fascinated to read books on psychology because I understand how psychology helps design, right? Because over the years we've been able to see that people are we all are emotive beings, right? Without our emotions, we are not human beings, right? The truth is that's one of the things I believe. So if you understand that, and I know how people can actually have attached emotions to design also over time, and also has worked for them, and also at some points been the problem, right? So understanding that there's a way the human brain works, there's a way the human being assimilates information or gather information. In design, there's something called information hierarchy. I mean, understanding how to structure your content is so key, because you don't just want to put, you want people to read and understand what you are saying and also follow the key things, right? I mean, I've worked with marketing directors that will say, okay, what we want to call out in this design is the money, right? But we don't want to make it to look like we are pushing the money out there. How do we do it? I mean, we have to work with the content person and all of that to make sure that talking about money and the content person had to give us content that could sound very realistic and logic and sensible to people that are reading it, while I have to find a way to visually make it appealing to the people that are reading or to our target audience. And that is how it works, right? You want to direct people to what they are going to see. You want to make sure that, look at the one on the before, I mean, everything is scattered, right? It's not well aligned. There's no hierarchy, there is no alignment, there's no proper structuring. But on the right, there is structuring. Best recipe is well designed in a way that recipe is under best. I mean, these are little things that you can just tweak around in your design. Design is not difficult. It's just paying attention to details. You have to be very observant as a designer, right? You have to be very observant. You have to observe things a lot and be very emotive. So alignment directs the eyes. Try to make sure you align. You can align to the left, to the right, depending on what you're trying to put out, or depending on the structure of your design. And over time, when you've learned how to, and also one thing I would say about alignment is that try not to use more than 2 alignments in one design. For example, if I align to the left, follow left to a particular point and can now move to the right. It is when you have mastered the craft, you can now tweak it. And when you tweak it, at that point, because you are used to, you know, when you do something so well, so much, your brain cannot suggest ideas and they'll come out fantastic. You know, they say sometimes that in design, some mistakes are what come out as excellent jobs, and it has actually happened to me too before, right? What you do sometimes as a mistake will just come out as an excellent idea, and like, oh, this is brilliant, you know. Things like that happens. But at the beginning, try to make sure that your alignment is working. When something is off, like, I can actually easily pick something that is off in a design very fast. Why? Because of the years I've designed or I've been designing for. Also, repetition unifies a composition, right? I don't know if this image explains it well, but yeah, what I mean here is basically that if you want people to see something well, if you want to put something to their face, or if you want to show them that this thing is well composed. For example, if you are seeing a website and they use a particular shape, they can use the particular shape all through the website. Why? They're trying to show you some form of composition, uniformity, you know, connection. Not just that you use, let's say, a circular shape up somewhere with a star and everything, you come down, you just want to pour all the shapes in our face. I mean, you have 1,001 projects more to do. You can still use those shapes for them, but per project or per work, try to use some repetitive element, right? It helps you make your design have some form of composition, right? Don't just let it be bland. You can actually, that's what I said about how that just express yourself. Keep a flexible mind when you are designing. Don't be rigid. Don't hold up yourself, you know. Don't say that, there's a way it is being done. Yes, there are principles, but you can explore and be expressive. This is in the expression that you see creativity. Creativity is not a gift. Creativity is expression of a person's mind. Creativity is, you have worked over the years, you are now strong enough, you can now do something amazing for yourself. That is what creativity is basically, right? So as much as possible, try to be expressive and do not hold things to yourself. Okay, now enough talking and let's jump to design. All right, so for this class, for everybody that's attended, let me see, we have like a couple of people here. We are going to do this brief, right? I mean, see, the point of design for non-designers is to see value being impacted in people. Like, I want you to design, make mistake, call, send messages and say, oh, I didn't get this thing right, or how do I do it? And we help you out and see that, and see actual value being people design being transformed from sheets from 0 to like 20 or to like 100. That's what we're looking at. So for this website, we're going to design for this class, or also after the class, for you personally, you design a landing page for any brand of your choice or business using the various elements you've learned. I mean, you work with shapes, you work with text, you can use imagery, and also principles you've learned in today's class. Now, I have done something. I have a sample on my what's it called, on my laptop. I'm going to show you, but basically, very quickly, this is the project we're going to do. I'm going to send you these documents. You see the assignment there. You do it them and send them back to us. We'll review. We get back to you. We converse about it. The point, this is a community. This is not just a one-off thing. We are going to do other trainings that we'll keep doing. Let's see the progress, you know. Or yeah, somebody's going to design something for us today on a live screen like this, and we would all learn together, right? That's the point. We are all learning together. All right. So this is class work now, but there is a process. Now, this is the process I want you to follow. Now, there is what we call design thinking in design, right? If you've maybe had conversations with product designers before, they will tell you what design thinking. Okay, design thinking is this. Talk about empathy, talk about ideation, talk about research, talk about designing, testing, iterate, then probably launching. But for every design, even if it is graphics, there is a process, right? Because someone asked me this question a while ago or sometime back, and I was like, okay, first thing is, before you pick your tool to design, before you go on Canva, people think because Canva has a lot of templates, my designs will be amazing, and when they come back and do design, you'll be like, you see, even with the templates, you've not been able to achieve you've not been able to use the basic principle of design well, right? So the first thing is to ideate. What do I want to achieve? And when I'm ideating, for example, how I do it is basic. I have my notepad and my pen. I don't really draw well. I mean, people think designers are mad as artists, we draw so well. I don't think I am. I don't think I'm good at drawing. I don't think I can draw so well to save my life. So but I basically put out my ideation. Like, I put out my sketch. Okay, this is what I want to achieve. Okay, I want this, I want this, I want this. I want this to be the main guy. I want, in my hierarchy, I have a sketch that I put out there, right? I put out all my sketch, right? And I say, okay, this is what I want to achieve. Now I now go to research. Now when I'm researching, I do this a lot. Sometimes I come here to these guys. Now one thing I just tell people is, when you come to site like this to check for ideas, now don't forget all these things I'm saying. Don't be intimidated, right? I know we are trying to take it little by little, right? So, but there's how you start. For example, I say, okay, I like this guy's founders sites. I want to do something like this. And I see the animation, I'm like, oh, this can be difficult. You scroll off again and you start wondering, what can you actually do? Now, don't let it be about what can you do. From your ideation, what have you said you want to achieve, right? Take it upon yourself to try to push. I mean, designing and to be good it's not about being perfect. It's about getting it wrong first, right? Let me open this guy and explain something to you. It's about getting it wrong first and asking questions. So no matter what I will tell you in this class, no matter how sensible I might sound or how intimidating I might sound because of my experience, it will not help you become better. What will actually help you become better is practice. Which is why I actually created a class session. I mean, I can show you my portfolio and be like, these are awesome designs. I want to be like this guy. But truth is, you cannot be like me. Neither can I be like you. But you can be like yourself and you can be better for yourself. This guy telling me to sign up. I think I've opened something here. All right, so you can be better for yourself. So basically, you have to practice a lot. Now, this design, I wanted to bring this and show that everybody's going to design this, and I'll show you the process to design. I think it's simple enough to be able to do something like this on Canva. And I wanted to show you, I'm going to walk you through the process of this, even though it might be, we don't have a lot of time, but we'll do it. The process of this guy on Canva, right? So I'm going to do something very quickly. It's going to be a cheat, but I'll quickly do something. So watch me. I want to grab my screen. So okay, I just did that. I'm going to sample this guy on my software. I want to get this color so I can show you what I want to do. All right, so I come to my After Effects. This is my Illustrator. This is one of the softwares I use to design. Don't get intimidated, don't worry. Okay, so let me look for the file I just saved. Desktop. All right, this guy I open with okay, let me use colors. Now let me show you. Let me use this guy. This guy was explaining to you that you can use to sample color code. Now let's just use this guy because you guys don't have Illustrator, right? So let's use what is available to everybody on the internet. Colors.co that I explained earlier. So I come here, I want to create a color palette. I browse my internet, I go to my desktop, I go to my screenshots and I press open, and let's see what magic we can get from here. I'm believing we should be able to sample color from here. Waiting for this to load. While we're waiting, it has loaded. No, now, yeah. So we can see that there is this guy. There's a circular thing that is movable. Can you see this now moving? So I bring it to this guy here, and this is the color I want to sample, right? I hope you all can see this. Then I select it. Now the color has been sampled here. This is the color I want. This is similar to this color I'm seeing here. So I go to next. I open in generator. Now this is the color I want to use. So like I said, this is the color I want to select. I can just easily copy the X code. That's the color code. This code here. I can just do this and I copy the code. Now I go to I want to use Canva. This is my first time designing properly with Canva, so bear with me folks. I know there are some Canva gurus here, but we'll do it. Let's watch. All right, so I want to change this background color to white. I feel like Canva is amazing tool, trust me. I mean, I should be saying they are taking work from designers, but no, it's an amazing tool. Now I come to my element. I pick a circle. I change the color of the circle to the color I use now, that I want to use now. I just copy the color, so I'll paste it here. This is the color I got from the website. I pasted it. I increase the size of this by holding Shift and Alt on my computer, so you can increase. I hold Shift and Alt because I'm trying to increase diagonally, not just from one end. So now we are trying to imitate this design. Right now you can see that there's a shape here. I'm guessing there are different things that happen to form this shape, but we are going to manipulate something and just make something work. I don't know guys, but Canva has like a pen tool or something that I can use to trace something out. Any response for those that use Canva? Anybody? Oh wow, I have some questions here. Sorry, I think let me answer the questions before I go back. Okay, can we do the same on Photoshop? Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely, but I always don't like to talk about Photoshop in classes like this because Photoshop is a bit technical, and if you want to do a Photoshop class for non-designers, we'll do that, but it's a bit technical. I want to focus on the tools that are not technical. They are not so technical. Is Montserrat under serif, sans serif, or a script? Okay, to me, Montserrat is a sans serif font. Now, why is Montserrat a sans serif font? I showed you what serif font look like. Let me go to where I get my font from before I answer Esther's question. I get my font from various sites. I can use Font Squirrel. I would share the material with you. It has all these resources. You shouldn't worry yourself about that. I go to fontsquirrel.com. I'm trying to show Tumiche sans serif font. Now, this font you are seeing here, I can't pronounce it. Aquarius Gothic. It's a sans serif font. Why? Because of the style of the shape. You can see it looks more like a Montserrat. Now, if you come to Canva and we go to what's it called? Our text, right? And we probably just click. Sorry, my Canva is loading. I want to show you different type of text basically. But so we come here and we say we want to use heading. Now this font you are seeing here, Open Sans, is more like Montserrat, and it's also a sans serif font. Serif font are the ones that have all those curves and all those, like the Bodoni. Let me show you a serif so we can see the difference. Sorry, I'm trying to rush quickly because of time. Now this is Playfair. Playfair is a serif font. So you can see the difference. It has this curved edges. The hair has a coil. That's the difference between that and an Open Sans, or maybe a Montserrat that Tumiche asked about. I'm trying to type Montserrat here. Yeah, maybe like a Montserrat. So you can see the similarity between Montserrat and Open Sans. They are both of the same structure, right? Okay. So back to the question, how do I design when I do not know the tools to use? How do I get started? Now, Esther, that's what I'm trying to do here, right? I'm guessing you don't know how to use Canva for you to ask this question at all, right? So let's say you I just introduced to Canva. Now I want to do this because you asked that question. I come to Canva and I see all these things and I'm confused. Now let me open Canva on another page. Let me go here so I can explain what the question is. Okay, so I come to Canva, for example. This is a basic design class, so I'm trying to take it as simple as possible for everyone's attention, so that everyone can get something from this. Now, when you come to Canva, now I have an account. You create, so you can do a lot of amazing stuff on Canva. So I come here, and there are templates on Canva, right? But sometimes I advise you tweak them. I advise you don't use them. But let's try and do one or two tweaking to a design, which is what I'm already open, but I want to show you how it looks. So this is Canva. Just explore, basically, Esther. You just basically explore. Start with Canva. Don't yet jump to maybe Illustrator, what's it called, interface, which is actually easy. But start with, you can see how it's simple this guy, simplified this guy looks, right? So you can start with this. There are amazing stuff there for you to use. Now, quickly, let me go back to my website. All right, so very quickly, we are trying to imitate this guy, right? Now, I was explaining that there is a process: ideation, research, design, review, maybe with your line manager, your whatever, or your team, or even if it's for yourself, review with your friends, ask questions. How does this website work for you? How does this social media let me look at this social media banner. Does it pass out the message? And after that, you can post, which is launching, or you can put it on your website which is also launching. Now, if I go to the tools, now let's go back to our software. Now, these guys here did some not so technical. Now, I want to do this. Include your team in the room where it happens. So let us see. Now you can see where hierarchy works here. There is this guy that is written in as the heading. So very quickly, let's just do this. One amazing thing about Canva that I love is you can see this line, this purple line. If it was other design tools, now it's not so, except on Figma, it's not so easy for you to get this thing that is, it's showing that this dimension is already cutting off the border for you. Now, one thing you need to always notice in your design is stop doing something like this. No, it is not proper. It is a risk you are taking. You know why? Because it could be lost in your launching phase or what have you. A text could be missing, and you don't want to do that. So as much as possible, give some room to the edges, which is why for these guys here, you can see that they've done this for me, which is amazing, right? So I have a personal beef with Montserrat, so I'm not going to use Montserrat. Bear with me. For the lovers of Montserrat, I'm going to use something else. Let me use Playfair. Let me just use Playfair. Let us what can do for us. Let me use Playfair Black. Canva works with internet. I hope you know that. So your internet has to work for you to do this. I love design, or design is life. Let's do design is life. All right. So alignment here. I don't like this alignment. I feel like it should be aligned to the left. Why? Because I want to snap all the content to the left here. So I come here, I do this, and it changes my alignment to the left for me. All right, perfect. I think it's too bold. I want to change that. I want to make it a slimmer one. All right, and I want to increase it a bit more. All right, perfect. So I want to write a subheading. For example, design is life. Let me put a full stop there. Subheading here, I bring this down, easily gets to show me a grid here that shows me that it is aligned to this. This is amazing, right? One thing I do with my alignment is most times try to do the heading, my hierarchy rather, I try to do heading to be ×2 of my subheading. So now this is 26, right? From here, now this is 52. Perfect. I can go as wild as say, okay, let me make this 60, right? And I do this 60 and it becomes bigger. And I say, okay, I'll move this up a bit. When I'm moving it up a bit, I'm trying to give room for this. I'm trying to form space. Space is an element of design. So I'm trying to give space to my design, right? So I'm trying to do this and this. Let me just do this. I don't have time for content. So let's just do subheading not available. Subheading not, sorry, not available. All right, full stop. And we move this back here, right, like this. I mean, this is my first time using Canva, so you can see that I'm going to use it the way I can, but truthfully, it is not about the tool, it's about what you know already, right? So what else can I do? I can say, okay, I want to put a green under this life, right? I want to put a green rectangle under the life. I come to my element, I take this out, I draw this guy, I bring it down a bit, I come here and I do this. Okay, right, this is me just trying to be expressive, right? Why can't we do this? You know, why should we not do this? Why is it not possible to do this, right? There's every possibility in doing anything. Sorry, also want to add try again later, just to make that fuller, okay, so we are good, right? So now let's put some images to this. Okay, so I'm trying to increase this a bit, just to this is, I mean, note, mind you, this is a website landing page we are trying to create. Now images, let me come to photos. Trying to look for images. I don't know if there are questions, but I want to see if there are. Okay, no questions. Let me go back to my website design. All right, I hope this is even clear enough. All right, so I bring this guy. They say this guy is free, so I click on this guy. I don't forget Alt and Shift to drag proportionally. Sorry, I copied two together, and funny enough, it actually worked. Let me try something. Let's try something. This is how design can be fun. I don't know if Canva has this thing called blur. If they do, that will be perfect. That will be super perfect. What I want to do is, if Canva has a blur effect, I want to blur this guy at the back. This is just us trying to do stuff, like just, I mean, why being boring? Just do things, Abby. Okay, let's try it. It's loading. Let's see if Canva has a blur effect. Oh, I think it should be under filter. Oh, wait, let me see. I don't use Canva, so I don't know where it could be. If it's not there, we'll just move on, so we don't waste time. Or does anybody know? Does Canva has a blur effect? If it does, can you tell me where I can find it for the Canva guys? Sorry, I can't hear you.
It's called transparency or transparent. I'm not sure now, but it's next to position at the top right corner of the page.
All right. Thank you so much, Ruashi. Next to position. Okay, this guy is transparency. No, this is not blur. No, not this. What I'm talking about is let me show you on my other software. See, for example, we have this guy. That is a bad way to do stuff. Okay. All right. I don't know if you can see this, but yeah. So this is the guy. For my own software, what I will just do is go to Effects, go to Blur, and I do this facial blur. And if you look at this, you will see that. Can you see what I'm talking about? This is the blur I'm talking about. Okay. So I don't know where it is on Canva, so let's just move. Okay. So I'll just work with something else. Sorry, quickly, so I don't waste time. Yeah. Sorry. No, using Canva is funny. All right, so let me just delete this one. But what I wanted to just do is make this guy at the back, this big blur, and this one sharp, so you just give some vibrant contrast and make it look very nice, you know, and all of that. So we can just probably just place them separately, to be honest, and just do this. Now I want us to put this in a shape. I don't like the way it looks, right? I will just do elements. I get the element shape. There are many questions I have in my head. How do I make this shape to be curved, edges, and all of that? Oh my god, it's so funny. All right, so I will just, if I can't find that, we'll move to what we can do. All right, let me just do this. let me just go to other pictures, find other pictures. Let's say I bring this guy, right? I just do this. I just do this. Mind you, we are trying to imitate this design, okay? So it might not be there, but we'll try as much as possible to imitate it. All right, so come back to my website. Okay, so I bring this guy out. I reduce it a bit, right? Sorry. Oh, I think there's a shape inside. Okay, cool. I just double clicked on it to pick out that. I figured there was a shape inside the image already, so I just did that, and I put this guy, this babe, in here, and I just make her bigger. I wish I could do some other things to the shape, to be honest. I have some nice ideas in my head, but it's not just working. All right, so this is me just exploring my options based on what I have, and I bring out another image. Let's look for another image. Okay, let's just look for an abstract image now. No, I don't like this one. It doesn't work. Quickly, let me just bring one image out so we don't sleep here. Okay. Right, so I have this guy. Where is he? Okay. Sorry about this taking time, but I think it's because Canva is my first time designing Canva, and it's actually fun. I'm enjoying it because, I mean, that's one thing about design. I mean, once you know what you want, you can get it done. All right, so bring this a bit here. Okay, and this guy can make it big a bit. All right, so we can just give it this fill up here to this place. Okay, so this is just, I was just exploring, right? And you can add filter to your image. You can animate. So for example, let's say you want to animate this guy. You can come here and say Canva should animate this guy for us, the whole thing for us rather. You can see how this looks. I mean, very sorry. That's a pro package. So let's just go back to our work. All right, so now let's just add a button. But before we add a button, let's try and move all this up. Right, I want to try and group. I think I can just do this. All right, and move this up. All right, let me just group. I almost press Ctrl G. All right, group and just move up. All right, so I create a button quickly, very quickly, so we can move. Very quickly, so we can move basically. And I decided to use Canva even though it is not so comfortable, because I feel like using another tool would make you feel a bit intimidated, and if you're going to practice, it is not what you're going to use, so it doesn't really make any sense. Now for the button, I'll make it really small. This is too big. Make it really small. Don't think the button should be so big. Okay, so I can just do this, trying to watch my alignment and see if what I'm doing makes sense. And right, what do they have? Get green for free. Just click here. You can just do click here. Quickly add a little body of text. Okay. Sorry, this is taking a while. All right, so I will just, our hands off on this because it's already past 6. All right, so click here. All right, so I will change the color of this guy to like a white. All right, so I will now move it inside my, I feel like it's tiny, so I can make it maybe bold a bit. Can it be bold? Okay, just bring it in here again. All right, so basically this is us trying to explore. Now there's something we've done before. So if you want to create the website, what you just keep to do is just keep adding page. Look at, I can add another page here. I create the next slide, add. So for example, you just keep creating your slide like that. So for this particular one, I tried to what's the word, I tried to animate it. It's a sample. I just tried to animate and just give you some feel. Let me just show you a bit of what I did. I mean, I feel like the button is too big, right? So I mean, just did some animation on Canva, right? I just use the animate button. I look at what works for this one, what works for that one, you get, and I just played around. You get, nothing more. I just played around with what I found. So for the first one, it comes like this. The second one comes like this, and all of that. So basically, it's about exploring. There's nothing more. It's just about exploring and knowing how to work with your alignment and with your with all the principles I've taught in this class. So so very quickly, I would go back to my slide. Sorry, 1 minute. I'll go back to my slide. I wish we could do more work, but time has gone. I'll go back to my slide. Like I said, this is the first session, so we're going to have other sessions where we'll talk about other things, like we'll do more work. But I want you to participate. Even if this is your first time of having to use Canva at all. Next position. Okay, if this is your first time of having to use Canva at all, you can still explore and still gain one or two things from it, honestly speaking. So so now these are the tools you need. Basically, you need work tools and you need softwares, right? I would advise you have a smartphone. I'm sure everybody has a smartphone. You have a laptop, internet, a flexible mind to work with. And recommended softwares here I have Canva, very important. Figma, yeah, Figma can do any kind of design. In my opinion, it can work as software. You can use it to do social media, but it is primarily a UI, user interface design tool, right? Which is to create mobile apps, websites, and the likes. And you can also use Illustrator. Illustrator is another perfect tool, and we would explore. I mean, this is a journey, right? This is just the beginning of many other classes. And I mean, one thing I want you to remember here, also take back, is the fact that we are currently building a what's it called, a module or a package for you, where we run you through a series of, I mean, that will be extensive, more extensive than this. This is a webinar to just introduce you to design, right? We'll run you through a series of, because if you just stick with us, right, we run you through a series of, we are building a platform that you can watch materials. We have our materials online for you. I mean, you have resources. You can download resources, both you can watch video content. Our classes will be online. We are building all of that for you, right? So we'll be sharing information with you very soon. Just stay tuned, right? So where can you get all of these things? I mean, there is a site where you can remove background from images effortlessly. The only problem there is that it comes with a challenge of your image may not come with in a very high resolution, but because you want to use the image for social media, so it's fine. You can just use it. So it's called remove.bg. For those that might not be able to use Photoshop, for example, to trace out background from an image, you can try remove.bg. It's an excellent resource for removing background from images. Another resource I just shared with you in this class also is Font Squirrel, is where you can download amazing fonts from. Also, there's Pexels. You can download free stock images, right, from Pexels. There's Pinterest. Pinterest is where I go for inspiration and for mood board. There's colors.co for color combination, like I explained in the class, right? And there is Freepik, where you can download graphics resources. There is Flaticon. Flaticon is where you can also get icons, free icons. You can use them on your software, on your projects. You can use them on Canva and all of that. And there is I think there's one other one that is not yet downloaded to say. I can't remember right now. All right, so guys, I think I can take few more questions before we go. I would appreciate if everyone can take the assignment. Would share the list of. Oh wow, someone just joining. we'll share the I will share the assignment with everybody. Like, I mean, I'm guessing everybody here is on the Telegram group. We share the material there. That is where we're going to share the Telegram and the what's it called, the material for today's class. After this class, we'll share it there immediately. I want to take one or two questions before we go. This class was supposed to be for 1 hour. We've gone past 1 hour. One or two questions before we go. Questions maybe on the assignment, maybe on anything I do not remember to touch on and you want to know. You can do that in 5 minutes. Anybody? Can we do this in fact? I think I've answered all of these questions. If you want to ask a question, you can actually unmute your mic and talk to me. I've been talking to myself since, so let's talk. All right. 1 minute, then we end. If nobody's talking, so we want to say a big thank you for everyone that joined today's class. I hope it was worth your time. We hope we could do more than 1 hour. All right, somebody wants to talk. We hope we could do more than 1 hour, but this is a journey, so it is a step-by-step approach to get you to the point you want to get to. What is important is as you go through each class, you probably go through the material and you do the class activity. Then that way you are participating and you are also improving your skill. Without participation, there is no improvement, right? People just joining. People think it's 6 o'clock. Oh wow. Without participation, there is no improvement. So I'm saying some people are just joining, but and I'm like, oh, we just ended the class. But without participation, there is no improvement, right? So what is important is you participate. I'm going to share the class note or the class slide that I just presented today with you all, and I would also appreciate, and I'm open to questions even on the Telegram group. If I do not answer, some other person is there to answer. So any final question before we call it a day? All right. Since there's no let me see, you just joined, sorry about that. All right, so guys, there's an assignment or a practice question basically that everybody will join. We want to, if you are on the group, I hope if you're not on the group yet, just say you are not, so we can add you up immediately. All right, and the class slide is good enough to help you go through the process of what I've taught in this class. So after this class, I will share the material with you and you can go and binge on it. Thank you for your time. It was great having you guys. Thank you so much. See you in the next webinar in 2 weeks. We have another hangout session with somebody coming to talk about something impressive. Just watch the space for more. I will be doing more of these free webinars for you all. Thank you so much. Have a great week ahead.